57talk.com, back with you again from Scottsdale, Arizona. And today, pleasure to speak with Dylan Keith Summers, famous as the Necro Butcher.
How's it going, man?
Dylan, it's a pleasure to have you with us. It must be a thrill. You're a movie star. I mean, I saw you on the big screen, and it's just amazing, the success of the movie The Wrestler.
Yeah, there's some really talented people as far as putting the whole thing together, so it's really, really nice.
When you started in pro wrestling in 1999, you probably didn't think you'd be on the big screen.
I never thought I'd have a single match, let alone something that nice being in a movie.
When you started in 1999, what was your vision of what your career would become? Of course, it's become probably the most amazing career of any wrestling athlete ever, what you've done. But where were you thinking it would go? Did you want to wrestle just as, what'd you want to do?
Well, I just wanted to, originally I just wanted to get to that first match, which I never thought would happen. So I didn't really have any kind of grandiose dreams when I started out. I thought, maybe a referee or something like that. Or I honestly, when I was in high school, my vision was that I could be like a TV jobber on TBS, like the guys for
the Malkies. Remember?
Well,
that?
yeah, those guys. Work with the best wrestlers in the world and traveling and going everywhere and being part of the mix and being on TV. That's what I hope to do. But then wrestling changed and they don't really have the showcase matches on television any longer.
So when did you of course become famous for the hardcore, the super hardcore style? When did you do your first hardcore, maybe light match?
I actually started working in '98. Then I would say probably around the early 2000 at some shows in Texas. I would get involved in some things, but nothing on the scale of what's going on now. Most of the real zanier stuff started in early 2001 when I moved from Texas to Louisville, Kentucky, work for IWA Mid-South. And a lot of their main event guys, a lot of their main event match were the so-called, American Deathmatch style. So being the new guy on the block, I was trying to work my way up higher in the card. So getting involved in these violent style of matches was an effort to get myself higher in the card where I was at that time.
Did you see early on in IWA Mid-South that the fan reaction to you was strong, that this could be a way that you could break through?
Well, IWA Mid-South has they've seen a lot of good wrestling there. Chris Hero, CM Punk, Colt Cabana, and then they would have like the ECW guys, Balls Mahoney, Sandman, Sabu, Ace Steel. They saw a lot of good wrestling. So I wouldn't necessarily say they reacted to me that good when I first came in there. No.
Did you feel comfortable with that style, as comfortable as you can be?
Well, I would say, yeah, as comfortable as you can be. I mean, this is stuff, it's pretty risky, but like I said, I was a young kid coming into the company, and I was trying to work my way up the ladder, so I was willing to do, whatever it takes to happen.
What was the first thing you remember doing where you crossed the line and you were in the very high-risk category?
Well, it was, they called it a lumberjack light tube match, and it was, a fella had taken another booking, so he wasn't there. So they asked me to fill in this lumberjack light. That's where the wrestlers at ringside not only will throw you back in the ring, but they will hit you with fluorescent light tubes as well. Perhaps they're more interested in doing that, throwing you back in the ring at times. But that was my chance. Someone was not there, and they said, "Hey, fill in." I was like, "All right, this is my chance to try and improve my situation a little bit."
So you did it, and what part of the match was like, "Oh my gosh, what'd I get myself into"? The light tubes over the head, or
not until afterwards, really, because I was so nervous. I was just trying to get through it and do what I needed to do. It didn't really sink in what I had done until it was over with and I was getting cleaned up.
Early on, did you have any kind of thinking in your mind that you had to protect yourself? I mean, you must still think that. I mean, you're coming very close to, it appears, near death. How do you protect yourself? How did you protect yourself?
Well, just the same way you protect yourself in any aspect of wrestling. You try to be as careful with yourself as you can be, and just the deathmatch style may seem a bit more reckless, but it's really not. It's more dangerous, yes, but more reckless, no. I mean, you just try the best you can, hope the best.
How many matches early on could you do in a week's time?
back then, which was, only 2001, but seems like a long time ago. IWA Mid-South was running twice a week, and then there was Evansville, Indiana was once a week. So there were 3 things during the week for sure. And whatever extra stuff you could up, whether it be a booking in Detroit or somewhere in Kentucky or whatever. But at least 3 times a week. Not real crazy. Wrestling's changed a lot past years.
It's gotten more crazy, right?
Well, it's gotten more crazy in the fact there's not very many places a fella can go make a living wrestling.
Oh, okay, I understand
where it used to be, 20 places, 20, 30 places all across the country where a guy could make a living. Now there's 2, maybe 3, so competitive, the element of danger is increased so much because so many young guys fighting for so many spots.
So it's gotten more dangerous because there's less spots, and to take advantage of what crowd there is, what money there is, you have to take a higher level of risk.
It seems that way, yes.
During this time, 2003, 2004, did you have an idea that maybe you'd be able to switch over, or did you want to switch over and maybe compete with TNA or WWE? Or
well, I had went to a few WWE shows way back when I first started. This was 99, 2000. They didn't use me, but I went and took in the whole experience, and I kind of thought, well, I'm never ever going to be able to do this kind of stuff, so I need to concentrate on what I'm doing and try to make the most out of that.
Sure. Do you have any desire to wrestle with WWE? Or
well, I would love to, but I'm not going to sit and self up about it.
Right.
I would like to some people say they would just like to have that one match, just one time, just for my own sense of self-worth, I guess. I don't know, but it's really not a good thing to beat yourself up.
You've had matches with people like Samoa Joe, wrestlers like Samoa Joe, great wrestler, and it wasn't a hardcore style match, outrageously hardcore. You've crossed over and done it both ways.
Well, I think too many times people concentrate on what you do wrong and exaggerate that to death. Things you do well are overlooked. And I may be booked in a lot of these so-called hardcore matches, but I can have a match with anybody, any style. It just depends on what they want to do. I'm trying my best to make a good competitive match with my opponent. If they do certain things, then I'm willing to try to stick within those boundaries and making the match look believable and look competitive.
Well, they sure do look believable, I can tell you that. And I always wonder, when you throw that right hand, it doesn't look like you're holding too much back.
Well,
I don't know.
Hit or miss, sometimes I strike out. Sometimes I hit a home run.
Yeah. Does it? What's that feel like?
Oh, I don't know how to describe that, man. Exactly how you think it feels.
Not good. I don't know if I could take one of them. Have you had a lot of injuries? Well, a lot of injuries that have stayed with you over the years.
Nothing that's really knocked me out of the game for too long. I think since '98. I have no idea how many matches I've had, but I think I've missed maybe 2 due to injury. So it's got to be something pretty bad, man. I try to go out there if I can.
I always wonder when I watch you up on YouTube. You're a YouTube sensation. You must be one of the most downloaded people on the face of the earth. How do you protect your eyes? Because it seems like there's a lot of dust from fluorescent bulbs.
Well, just exactly like you would think. You just try to, you can't just go in there with your eyes shut, or then you're really going to get hurt because you're not going to be able to see what you're doing. So you just try to, when you work with these glass and whatnot, when you work with them a few times, you start to get the feel of, okay, well, it's going to do this if I do this, it's going to do that if I do that. You just try to be careful. I don't really know how to answer your question other than you just do the best you can, man. It's just with any environment, the longer you work there, the more little nuances you pick up.
It's like the old disclaimer: don't try this at home.
No, certainly not. Don't try it anywhere.
Did you have a promotion down in Texas?
I've helped out with a few promotions here and there. Yeah, I worked with a company down there in Denton called XCW. I worked with them for probably about a year, helping them get their TV show established and stuff. And wrestling's a migratory business. So I found myself moving back to the East Coast and started working for Ring of Honor again here about 2 years ago.
Would you like to someday have your own territory, or I know territories really don't exist anymore, but something along those lines? Or
well, just like you said, territories aren't the way things are done anymore. But as far as being involved with something when I'm no longer an active competitor, whether or not it's my show is irrelevant. I would just like to be able to help out, some show somewhere. I think I've done decent for myself as far as publicity with little or no help. But
I'll say,
and I think I could really help young guys same way without cutting themselves up. There's many ways to tell your story besides cutting yourself up. All you do.
How much potential do you think Ring of Honor has? They've come along pretty well at the national TV contract now.
Right. We just have to. I'm just like I work there, but I'm just kind of like a foot soldier. So I don't just kind of in the same boat as the fans. I'm just kind of waiting to see where things go, whether they try to change a TV show a little bit, or the TV show ends up changing the shows a little bit. I honestly don't know. I'm just going to wait and see. The potential's there. Obviously, the market's there. They wouldn't have found themselves in the situation they're in.
It's on HDNet, right?
Right, correct.
And that's Mark Cuban. If Mark Cuban ever really got interested in wrestling, watch out. Vince would have himself a...
Well, look what Ted Turner did with the NWA.
Yeah.
He turned it into WCW and a multi-million-dollar publicly traded company. So, who knows?
Do you think WWE is going to be it forever, number one? Or do you think it, who knows? Maybe somebody, if a Mark Cuban got involved, or could give them a run for their money?
The way things are now, man, I don't know. It would take a while. It's going to take more than money to topple the kingpin up there. And I think the way the industry is shaping itself, it's going further in that direction of making such a great distance between number one and everybody else. It would take a few years, that's for sure.
Well, you've done something that no WWE wrestler has ever done, and that is you have been in a movie about wrestling that was a success and that was an artistic success. So in a way, you've out-accomplished. A lot of wrestlers have tried to be in movies. Hulk Hogan.
Excuse me. Well, that's true. Like a lot of guys, like Hogan and The Rock and Steve Austin and Kane and John Cena. All these guys are making movies, but they had to go through the hassle of being a big star first. I guess I kind of skipped all that shit.
Oh yeah. Well,
right to the movies.
There is an advantage to the big star part. Were you surprised when you got picked for the role?
Oh, completely. Yeah. Because they had the day I talked to the director, he had told me, "Hey, we want you to come down to Brooklyn and read for some lines." I was pretty stoked because I was the first guy they talked to in the locker room that day. But then they went and told several younger, good-looking fellas the exact same lines they told me. So I'm like, wow, what chance do I have now? If all these young, good-looking kids are going to come in and read for this part. But as fate would have it, I read for a role that the writer had actually written based off of me anyway. The character in the script was named the Hellbilly Cannibal. It was a character that the fellow who wrote the script, Siegel, had written based off of watching me perform in Long Island one night. So I guess that's how I got lucky. They said, well, why should we get a guy to play the guy? We can just
get the guy himself, and it was just amazing. Dylan, is there anything you've done in the ring that you said never again?
Oh, all the time, every night. every night.
I'm a fan of yours on YouTube. I got to admit, I watch your matches, and I'm like, I can't believe this. Unbelievable. Almost every move seems to be a move that you'd never want to do again. But give me one example.
Oh, Lord. It just depends. It depends on what kind of situation I'm in. I think down in Houston here, I guess it was last month for Ring of Honor, I ended up being on the receiving end of a superplex from the top rope to the concrete.
Ooh, ouch.
And that was pretty nasty. So hopefully that one never comes my way again.
Do you have a lot of control over your matches now that you've become so famous over some of the younger kids, or can they go out and do what they want to do?
Generally speaking, if I do whatever I want to do, and if it just depends on who I'm in there with,
Yeah, well, if they're young, I have a feeling if they do something out of line, they're gonna pay the price.
Well, if I work with young kids all the time, and I can make anyone look good if they'll just keep their mouth shut and listen. So if someone can listen to me and has a couple of ideas on their own, well, then that's nice. But as far as someone telling me what to do, that's generally not a good idea.
Okay, Dylan, I want to thank you for coming on with us. Do you have an individual website, or is it just www.youtube.com?
Yeah, I don't. I get on the internet every now and then, but I don't mess with it too much, man. I just kind of
just go to YouTube and type in Necro. You don't even need to put butcher in, and man, you're going to get an eyeful. Hey, I just want to congratulate you on all your success. The movie was fantastic. I hope you don't have to keep taking risks for 10 more years. I don't know. I just hope your career works out great for you.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Hey, have a great day. Thank you so much. Bye bye.
Bye bye.